Speaking of Gary, the Howard 100 News, and the audience are blamed by Howard for scaring away Eric the Midget. And that sort of came out of nowhere, Benji, didn't you think?
Yeah, I was totally. First of all, I think I didn't like. First of all, it's Eric the actor, and I don't like when people call him that, but because he doesn't like that. But it was interesting. Yeah, I wonder where that did come from. Like, what Howard, if he saw something last night or something triggered his thoughts about it.
Well, the theory going around the office was after hearing all the stuff that Howard put on his iPad, which was very Ralph Sorella-esque. We know Ralph's a big fan of Eric, and we were wondering if Ralph planted that seed inside Howard's head about why Eric is no longer calling into the show. Like, who's keeping him away? Because I know Ralph loves Eric and loves to hear him on the show, as most of us do.
Yeah, I mean, but I think Howard's just as much to blame as if you blame Gary or blame anyone for it's a weird line. Like, we're joking around, we're having fun, but he wasn't always having fun.
Well, it's hard to see when somebody has reached that point where it's not fun for them anymore, but that's also what a lot of the listeners are listening for. They want people to hit that moment, It's compelling radio.
Yeah. I always thought we could have gone a whole different direction with him, which we could still do, is let's make him the biggest thing in the world and just totally celebrate him.
Well, I think the show has done that from time to time. I mean, knocked him from here, knocked him here and there, but, when he had his acting triumphs, and I think he's been celebrated quite a bit. People appreciate him on the show. And again, how cantankerous he is really makes him who he is on the show.
Yeah. Why did Gary leave?
I don't know. I think you might have scared him away. He'll be back. Don't worry.
I'm supportive of him. But I would be really cool. I mean, I don't know what he's up to. I know the last time he called in, he said he's never going to call in again.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, but I don't know if that's completely true. We're talking about Eric and Howard saying that you scared him away.
I thought it was sort of unfair to me. I don't deny that I pick on Eric and I speak my mind. I'm not trying to do anything weird. I think he's ungrateful, and I say that. But I think the audience has been that way, and I think Howard's even been that way. Howard said to him, I think we're rewriting history that I'm the person that did this, in the sense that, a lot of people have gotten on and busted his balls, and Howard has even said to Eric at times, hey, listen, you go and you do a show on the air, you do your American Idol show, and if people are going to trash you, that's part of being on the air.
Yeah, it seemed like you were pinned as well, but he did say the audience and the Howard 100
But he
News.
was very specific with me, and there's a lot of, Howard's never said to me off the air, hey, I think you're being a little hard on Eric, or on the air he said that. He goes, I don't know. Howard's been more defending of him, and I'm being the way I am. I'm not doing a bit. It's how I feel.
So where do you think that came from this morning?
I don't know. I mean, I heard a bunch of people in the office saying something.
Yeah, well, I put that theory out there that it was Ralph.
But I didn't really initially think of that. I don't know where that came from. Yeah, listen, I'm one of his biggest detractors, and on the wrap-up show, I will say stuff about him, and he'll say, I hate what Gary has to say about me, but that's just part of being on the show, and there's a lot of people, that, like I said, Jeff the Drunk, too, we give Jeff the Drunk shit, and Howard's like, well, he can't help who he is, but there's a lot of people that we give shit to. We talk about people the way we see it.
All right, we'll see how that situation... All right, so we knew that you were helping out Howard with the iPad, but then out of nowhere, he started blaming Gary and the fans and the Howard 100 News about Eric the Midget not being on the show anymore. And we thought maybe you planted that seed or had that discussion with Howard.
I didn't, by the way. That was the office talking.
Yes, the office, this entity called the office.
No, it was weird because I was like, what's this all about? Everyone, I just heard a bunch of people in the office go, that's Ralph talking, which I had not thought of that. I don't think that's the case, but now you can answer.
That's absolutely true. No, I didn't create it, but I think Eric the Midget came up because of Fringe, because his head exploded. I reminded Howard of that, and I just kind of said, I didn't say anything particular about you, Gary, and that's completely honest. What I said was, my rap was just, it kind of, the audience bummed him out, and you could say, I even thought about this. It's like, well, Eric, don't go on Twitter, don't go on Facebook, and, read all this stuff. That's what was bumming him out. But the reality is, that's his whole world. He's in a wheelchair, and all he's got is his computer screens, and people ruined it for him. And it just was it's a bummer. I mean, it got to the guy,
But should people act differently for him? In other words, people were just talking about the way they feel about him. Should they not?
No, because people also don't. People are just going along with the crowd and what people say. He's ungrateful and all this stuff. It's like, you know what? The show and the audience should be grateful to him for being so entertaining over all these years. I mean, where's that love? Where's that?
You could say that of 100 guests we've ever had on the show.
And you should. And it's like this notion that everybody should just be grateful for anything that the show does for them. The show's getting something out of it too, right?
Dude, you got a short memory of how that went down with Eric. I mean, we were just offering him the world, and he was just really just obnoxious about it.
He wasn't obnoxious. People get pigeonholed into the things.
Listen, I love Eric the Midget.
And so he got pigeonholed as ungrateful. So anything
no, he didn't get pigeonholed. He's fucking ungrateful.
But anything you guys could call him ungrateful about, you would call him out.
Hold on.
Be like that.
Hold on. We would say, like, Eric, what if we do this and this and this for you? And by the way, this and this. And then you go, and I want this. And we go, okay, we'll do that for you too. And then you go, no, I'm not interested. And we'll be like, what the fuck? Well, you can't do enough for the fucking guy.
And Ben,
that's ungrateful.
Maybe he didn't want to do something.
No, you're being unfair because Will, there's no bigger Eric the Midget fan, maybe Ralph, than Will.
Yeah.
And Will, I mean, is saying exactly how it went down. He wasn't saying he was being ungrateful. I mean, he is saying he was being ungrateful, but he was being ungrateful.
Well, that's your. Maybe there are instances of him being ungrateful, but I know people get pigeonholed into certain.
But he wasn't.
Areas.
Maybe that's
you
your
get
thing.
pigeonholed, not him.
I think he did. I think he did, and I also don't think he's not great at It's like an older person that's not great at sort of moderating their voice, so they can't do subtle emotions.
I don't know why we're making excuses. He got on that show American Dreams, right? They flew him out there. It was clear the only reason they put him on was because he was on the show. And the next time he came on, he never once, like, he was just sort of cranky again. And we're like, we got you on the show, and he's like, whatever. And we thought it would be nice to.
That's not funny.
Okay, so I have my opinion about it. You have yours.
But that's 100 years ago, like, you know.
But it's always been like that.
The guy's been just entertaining, you know.
He doesn't entertain me.
Well, yeah. So,
but it was Eric that made the decision not to come back.
Yeah, well, that's the bottom line.
Eric was the one that said, "I'm not calling in anymore."
It's nobody's fault, Gary, that he's not on the show anymore, except his.
So, Ronnie, why do you think
he left?
So, why do you think Howard made a point to say, Gary, I'm putting this on you, in addition to the news and the audience? Why pigeonhole Gary there?
Howard likes to stir shit up, you know.
Listen, again, I'm going to repeat that. That had nothing to do with me. I didn't start saying it's Gary's fault. It's Gary's fault. I was just talking in general terms of the audience bumming him out because I know how nasty people are. And, you know, I don't know. I just felt bad for him. It's like, that's his whole world. You know, some people can just turn off their computer and go out and deal with people.
But Ralph, it's his whole world, but he's the one who decided not to do it anymore.
Yeah, because he just doesn't want to be a part of it because people are so fucking nasty.
Yeah, but everybody's nasty to everybody.
Oh, you're ungrateful little prick.
Everybody's ungrateful. He should know the show. I mean, forget about it. Everybody gets their ass ripped open.
Oh, Ronnie, you just because you'll do anything like just you're desperate.
What do you mean I'll do anything? What are you talking about? I'll do anything.
Lisa G won't take her fucking top off, so you just say she's not a team player. I mean, you just
well, she's not a team player, okay?
Oh, stop. So she doesn't have to be. She's not there for that. She's there to do the news.
Okay.
Just because in your book you've decided
in my book, yeah, okay.
My book, and then you repeat everything.
Right.
Anyway.
But Ralph, how do we know? Like, in other words, like there's other people that we're hard on who are, you know, members of the Whack Pack. We used to, you know, give Melrose Larry a hard time, and we've given Jeff a hard time. So why is that?
Eric, high pitch Eric, look what you do to him.
Well, I have my thoughts on that too. But, but again,
he clearly deserves to be.
But yeah, why should we not be? Why should I pick on a high pitch Eric or Jeff the Drunk, but not Eric the Midget?
I wasn't saying you. I was directing more.
No, I'm saying in general, even the audience. In other words, the audience has an opinion. Why should they stop having it about Eric the Midget, but continue to have it about everyone else?
Again, like Benji said, I think people's opinions are formed, and that they're too stupid to think for themselves. So they hear somebody on the show say he's ungrateful. Now all of a sudden, hey, Eric, you ungrateful prick.
Bullshit. I'll tell you why. Because even Howard has probably defended him at times. So if everybody's who are they going to follow? The news department or Howard? Howard's been like, leave the guy alone. Sometimes he's not.
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember everything that went down, but I know there was a lot of times, like the Fringe thing that happened, again, because of the show. Right. And then he was trying to distance himself from the show in any way, saying, I'm trying to get a TV career. I've used you for as much as I need, and now I'm going to do it on my own. That was basically his logic.
Let's go into the specific then. So the Fringe, what did he do wrong there? Because he didn't want Langford to come along for it?
Well, yeah. What was the other thing? Because I'm
What
trying
was
to
wrong
remember the
with that?
details.
Well,
of it.
because he only got it because of the show. If we don't cover it, what's the
Yeah,
point?
but maybe he wasn't comfortable with
then
someone
we're not
covering-
comfortable with giving him the
That's fine, and you can say that it's not like a legal negotiation.
Then
but
he-
if someone
no,
says,
hold on, then he was into it for a while, but then he wanted a van. Then he wanted a special van that was $700 a day. You know, it was like everything was like. But the more you gave him, the more he wanted.
okay, let's. I'm talking this specific thing.
I'm talking about it specifically too. That was
okay.
fringe.
So if he didn't want Langford to cover him, if for whatever reason he didn't feel comfortable because the kind of language Langford used about him in the past, it wasn't. It's like a big deal for him to say I'd rather Langford not cover me.
No, it's not a big deal. It's just if we're setting him up with that, there is a give and take on the show. There's a give and take. He doesn't exist as an actor without this show. End of sentence. And you know why? Because he hasn't got a fucking part since he stopped calling.
All right, I want to move on from this. Ralph, thank you for clarifying that you planted the seed.
I can't believe how mad I get about him.
Well, I don't
know,
understand
it's so
Benji's
great.
point with the whole thing. Like, you don't see him as ungrateful in any way? I mean, that's kind of the beauty of him. That's what makes him funny.
Exactly.
I think
So, for you to sit there and say, oh, you know...
I think in a funny way, yeah, he can
Yeah, of
seem
course.
cranky.
Well, that's
but
what
do
we're
I think
saying.
he's really ungrateful?
Yes.
No, not at all.
Hey, Gary, I think the reason you get so angry is because that's exactly what you believe. You think he's ungrateful to the show. You're the one providing all this stuff. He's slapping you in the face. Of course you're going to get pissed
It's not
off.
me. It's everybody. It's everybody's providing. It's the show provides for him.
And he said, like, look, I can't take this anymore. Okay,
So that's
there
fine.
anything wrong? Is that him
Nothing.
being ungrateful?
There's nothing wrong with him leaving the show.
I just want to say in closing, the reason I love him so much is he's the real life bubble boy from Seinfeld. It's like somebody you should feel sorry for, but you don't.
Moops, Ralph, moops.
Moops, Morris, moops.
Goodbye.
Where's Seinfeld?
Ralph.